insider. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Rob,
All right,
and your
you
Buckeye
guys,
fandom.
how I became Ohio State Buckeye?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much I grew up in the state of Michigan, and just like when I started watching college football, I I just didn't end up liking Michigan. Like it was
Yep.
honestly for me, it was the fans, just the
It's a
not being relevant for so many years and act like you're the greatest thing since Jesus Christ. Like that was
still they still
just
talking like they were the greatest things, right?
yeah, they still were talking like they were the greatest thing. Like, cause just like okay, like I get it, the most wins in college football, but like if
Sure.
you look back at photos, you see a lot of leather helmets there.
A lot of grainy images, black and
So,
white, baby.
cause just after a while, I'm just like, okay, like what are you doing now? Like, cool,
What's
you
relevant?
won your
Yeah.
first national championship in 26 years, but
26
all I
years.
heard is like just like the Dallas Cowboys, all I heard is like, "This is our year. This is the year we're gonna beat Ohio State. This is the year we're gonna be back," and it just
Especially
never
in
happened.
16 and 18.
Yeah, it just and that just really got on my nerves. And so like the
Yep.
year I really started watching college football, that's just like when my hate for Michigan just like built up,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
so
I get it.
like I remember watching the Ohio State Michigan game. I'm like, oh, these two teams really hate each other. So that just I was like, you know what, this is it. This is the team. I've
The
been a Buckeye.
animosity was present for
Yeah,
sure in the rivalry and still is. So yeah,
yeah.
I get that. Well, that's cool, man. I have a similar story. I grew up in Michigan myself, and um, there is actually picture evidence of me wearing a Michigan Wolverines shirt at one point, and that disgusts me. Absolutely disgusts me because I was a little kid and I didn't know any better. I had a cool looking Wolverine on it. I was like, "That's a cool shirt," and I wore it. But my fandom was developed when I went to my first ever Ohio State game. It was actually at Northwestern. It was Joe Germain, David Boston, Michael Wiley, and the boys back in 1998. So we're talking a ways back.
Man, I
That was
really
my first ever game. It wasn't in the horseshoe, which is strange, but it wasn't. We took the Amtrak and we went to Evanston, and we watched Ohio State destroy Northwestern. So I just fell in love automatically with Ohio State athletics, football in general or specifically, but I also really like basketball as well. But I wanted to have you on, Rob, because you are a knowledgeable fan. You know a lot, man. You are a passionate fan, and you're invested into the
definitely,
rivalry.
yeah.
And so thanks for coming on first and foremost. I appreciate you joining on this live here. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Give me your thoughts first off on Ryan Day and the job he's done in the 5 years here he's been at Ohio State. What do you think about him?
I remember when Urban Meyer got suspended at the beginning of the season, and so what was that, like the 2018 season?
Yes.
Yeah, so he got suspended at the beginning of the 2018 season. I remember, Ryan Day filled in for 4 games. I saw the offense, and it
Yep.
was just like the absolute like most air raid offense.
The
They what
Dwayne
they what
Haskins train.
Yeah, dude, Dwayne Haskins just balling out. I'm like, like if for some reason Urban leaves, I wouldn't be like I'd be happy if Ryan Day was the coach. But
Sure.
I was a little skeptical because I'm like, Urban built the team. Ryan Day is gonna inherit like that too,
Fair.
like just like he inherited that 2017 class. Like that was a great class, and they
Ooh,
almost won the national championship.
yeah, they
So
played
at
for it.
first, yeah, at first I was skeptical, because they're
It
just like,
seemed like a
okay,
risky hire, didn't it?
yeah, it did. Remember, so a couple of comparisons. Like, remember how like
Yeah.
back in like early 2000s, Larry Coker, he got the inherited a great Miami University of Miami team. Like, and then like
Yeah.
just the downfall happened so quickly. So that was my worries at first. But then just like, okay, 2019 season, All right, undefeated, lost comps in the playoffs, and the next year, they run the back, lose to Bama in the
Yep.
national championship.
Got smoked.
Yeah, but I'm just like, okay, like he's winning games that he's supposed to. He's winning games that he's supposed to. Like Urban Meyer lost a couple games that he wasn't supposed to lose. So that's one thing I really I liked about Day. Um,
Yep.
but I just looking at the recruiting classes, I just saw some things, and like I can see like people getting distracted by all these flashy wide receiver recruits,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and just like
Five
then all of a
stars.
sudden like we're losing in the trenches, and I'm just like, okay, like I know
Mhm.
Ryan Day's innovative, but does he know how Big Ten football is played and won? It's won in the trenches, and that's
Ooh.
what Urban expressed. That's what Tressel
Yep.
expressed, and like I just
Yep.
remember like seeing them just getting bullied and just pushed around in that last game in Ann Arbor,
Oh my
the
God.
2021 season. It was just
That was
it
a
was em-
bludgeoning on
yeah,
the ground.
it was embarrassing, man. And
It
so
was.
I'm just like, like, is Ryan Day the guy? And just like, okay, like, he's lost like what that season? He's lost like what 3 games that his entire career at Ohio, his entire
Yep.
coaching tenure at Ohio State. So I'm gonna give him a couple. Like, I'm gonna give him some time.
What do you think
And
about like his recruiting approach in general? National, he seems to go for as opposed to Ohio guys and local talent or Midwest talent, I should say.
man, you gotta pull those Ohio guys, dude, because
Yes, please.
they grew up around the rivalry. They know it more than likely. They hate Michigan more than other. They want to play for each other for the greater good.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
just like rather than you get these like high national recruits who just like, okay, are they about the team, or are they more playing for the man rather than the team to get where they need to be? Which, by the way, apparently we're according to Michigan fans, we are mercenary. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen it.
We're
I read.
mercenary. They're mercenary. That's
Oh man.
that is
Came for the
hilarious.
bag and left for the bag, huh?
Yeah, but from a recruiting standpoint, I'm honestly still worried about this. The offensive
I
line, like
I share your concerns because like you said at the very beginning, answering this question, we go after the flashy players, the 5-star corners, the 5-star wide receivers. And as you see in this upcoming class, the 25 class, we're getting those guys again. But
yeah,
are we getting the linemen on both
fire
sides of the
Justin
ball?
Fry. Fire
Let them
Justin
go.
Fry.
Let them
Let him
go
go.
already.
Like
Let them go.
I don't care. Oh, so apparently I heard that Chip Kelly was in Ryan's ear like, "Hey, get my boy Fry." No. You need to get rid of him. I actually looked at UCLA's recruiting classes in terms of the interior linemen, and Fry didn't do much.
Right.
He didn't
If he was
recruit
that good,
anybody
Kelly would have hired him.
significant. Yeah, Chip Kelly's falling behind. So I
He's
don't know.
really fallen off.
Yeah,
He went to the NFL, but that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I
yeah,
kind of share your concerns with the recruiting. I really do want more hog mollies up front on the offensive line to pave the way. Quinton Judkins was a nice pickup. We'll talk about him a little bit
yeah,
later. Um, that's the kind of back we need. Trayvon Henderson, respect and salute. He played his tail off in the bowl game. He got whacked multiple times, hit very hard in the backfield, and he just kept fighting. He kept fighting. He kept fighting. But I will
yeah,
say this: I really like me some Trevion Henderson and his breakaway speed, but he's not your atypical Big Ten back. A Melvin Gordon, a I'll say this even a Hassan Haskins type running back, a bruiser, a guy that
yeah.
breaks tackles. How many tackles do you think Trevion Henderson broke this year? less than
He's not
less than
much.
20?
He doesn't break tackles. He more
He
does
doesn't.
he breaks ankles.
He's
That's
speed.
yeah. He's speed. He kind of he's an upgraded version of Donovan Edwards.
Yeah.
Able to catch the passes really well out in the
Yeah.
flat,
Yep.
and he can take a home run. Like, yeah,
He did it
but
last year versus Penn State. He did it this year in multiple games. His breakaway speed is something to behold, and I love watching him run. But he's a different kind of back than what we've had in our Ezekiel Elliott, Chris Beanie Wells, Carlos Hyde.
yeah.
Those are my favorite
Oh,
types of
Carlos
running
Hyde was
backs.
a workhorse, dude.
He was a monster, especially for
Yeah, he
Michigan.
was.
Trivia fact here, real quick. Carlos Hyde has the most rushing yards for an Ohio State running back versus Michigan all time, ever. 226. So, factoid. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll come help you out in trivia someday.
Dude, we need to get back to the Maurice Clarks of the world, man. Like,
Yes,
he
please.
was an absolute bruiser as well. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, even
monster on the
Master
field.
Teague was a bruiser. I mean, I know people complain about him, but he was a bruiser. He got the
He was a
job
big
done.
man.
Yeah,
He was a
he's a
big
big
man.
man.
Let's move
I
on a little
just
bit to
what
the staff. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought there. Finish your thought.
we just need to get back to the bruising backs, man. Enough with
Yeah.
this flashy stuff. We need to get back to the way that Big Ten football is played. And
Yep.
as much as it pains me to say this, uh, Michigan has shown how it's played. As
They
much as
have
it,
the
it
edge.
pains my heart,
They
as
have the
much
edge
as
in that department. It's clear.
yeah, yeah,
21, like you said, mentioned, was
just
very evident that we
boning
could not
people
stop the
around.
run whatsoever.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was infuriating to watch for me. Now,
yeah.
as you may or may not know, I think they listed this at the top of the broadcast at this year's Ohio State Michigan game. But the winner in the rushing yardage war in the Ohio State versus Michigan game wins, and they have won 22 years in a row. Every time, the leader in rushing yards. So
Yeah.
we're a passing team a little bit. Our identity has shifted a little bit from Ohio State's core identity over the years. But I think, and you may correct me on this, but I think Ryan Day is starting to finally figure it out because he got a guy like Quinton Judkins. So,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I know people are saying, "Oh, Ryan Cooper Day," but if you look back
hmm,
at the end of
painful.
the Cooper years, he woke up too late. He woke up at the
He
end.
did.
He started to be like, "Okay, I need to do this. I need to do A, B, and C." But Ryan Day is what is he going in? He's going into year 4.
Ryan
Uh,
Day is actually going to be going into year 6 coming up.
oh, year. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I mean, he's waking up
I
early.
think so. He's making some staff shakeups, and we're going to talk a little bit about him right
Yeah.
now. What do you think of the Perry Eliano firing? The safeties coach at Ohio State. Do you think that was a good move? Was it necessary?
The safeties have improved, but I could see from a recruiting standpoint as to why he was fired.
Sure.
You can't. Didn't he miss out on his nephew or something?
He
Yeah,
wasn't bringing in the Von Bells of the
yeah.
world
He
at
wasn't.
Ohio State, was
Yeah.
he?
I mean, like at first I was like, why is he the first one fired? And I'm just like, well, if he's a part of it,
Same.
he's a part of it. But
Proctor was good, but Ransom not so good. Cam
yeah,
Martinez not so good.
no, definitely not. Dude, Cam Martinez didn't even get on the bus for the Michigan game.
He didn't.
No.
And he's a native Michigander. He was actually, admittedly, this is a miss for me, but because he spurned Michigan at the last second, he was one of my favorite recruits in that class. But my goodness, was he not a good safety. Moving forward, I don't know a ton about the new hire in. I don't even know how to say his name yet. Guerrieri or something like that.
Yeah,
What do you tell me a little bit what you know about Guerrieri?
honestly, I'm a little worried.
Okay.
His time. It's. I'm glad that he had time under Knowles to learn his system. Pretty much, Knowles took him under his arm like a son. But
Yes.
he
Yes.
was there during that 2022 season,
Yep.
and that's what worries me. Like,
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you remember that the passing
How
defense
bad
that
the
was linked to
breakdowns were
OT
versus
season?
Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah,
How
I
bad the
remember.
breakdowns were.
Wow. Yeah, I remember.
I mean,
Not just that game too.
tripped over his feet,
Yep.
and Georgia scored. That's what worried me. But then I looked at his resume at Duke. I mean, wasn't he
Okay.
the 2018 Broyles Award winner? And he was able to get Duke safety, the first one drafted in quite some time. And you have to look at the type of talent that Duke gets. They're not getting the
Right.
5 stars,
It's a fair point.
the mid four, like the 4 stars. So that's impressive, but
I
we'll see.
I
I'm gonna give him a chance.
I like that he knows Noel's system. And that gives me a little bit of hope because he's not bringing in somebody that doesn't know the scheme. We are very committed and aligned to the 4-2-5 defense with under Jim. And so bringing in a guy like Gary Airy is really important for me to have that schematic cohesion on the defensive backfield. So I like the hire, but his resume is decent, but not like it doesn't wow you. Am I right? Or
It that's what I thought first. Like the resume doesn't wow me, but
yep,
if he look at what Knowles has done with the
yeah,
defense in like 2 years.
yep,
It's one of the best, and it's gonna be the
lockdown,
best, and it's gonna be
lockdown, dude.
locked down next year. So I'm
You
gonna
already
give the
know
guy
it,
a
man.
chance. We'll see how he does on the recruiting trail. So we'll see.
Moving on to Parker Fleming, he was also a staff member and assistant that was let go. He was a special teams coordinator previously now at Ohio State. And I don't like to take joy in the other and someone losing their job. That ultimately that stinks. But our special teams also stunk. So uh, outside of field goal kicking was decent. Punt return, kickoff return was non-existent.
Kickoff return.
Horrible.
I mean the punt return was just terrible during the Missouri game, the bowl game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Like
absolutely infuriating. We could definitely talk about the bowl game in a little bit, but
yeah,
my gosh, special teams was a disaster. Not only this season, but in 2022. And Parker Fleming, salute to you. Thank you for your service. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. But man, he had to go, in my opinion. And I think that was a dynamite move by Day. Who he brings in, I don't know. I was a little surprised at the Mirko transfer, Jesse Mirko. He transferred our punter, and I was like,
yeah.
wait, what? But that's probably because Parker Fleming was going to get the axe and he knew it. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm elated. Well, okay, that's a little harsh.
The thing that confuses me about Parker Fleming is why did they ever give him a raise?
He gave him a
Like,
big fat raise.
yeah, he gave
Yeah,
him a big raise. We're not talking. We're talking like what, 300 to $500,000 raise.
talking serious money.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure about that. Now, um, excuse me. I think there might not be any more openings left on the defensive staff. But what do you know about James Laurinaitis um, being a grad assistant and possibly getting a position as assistant coach? What are your thoughts on James Laurinaitis moving up the food chain at Ohio State?
man, I love James Laurinaitis, dude. He was an elite linebacker playing for Trash, dude. Smash mouth football. Always
Yes.
never scared to meet running backs at the line.
Yeah.
But as a man, just go look at his resume. I
Yep.
mean, it's incredible. I mean,
It's
all-star
remarkable.
linebacker, Ohio State, in the
Yep.
pros. Wasn't he going to be a part of the WWE at one time?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
I
even
think
that. I
so,
mean,
bro.
it's still part of the resume. And it looks good. But
Yep.
I
And he was the
think that,
all-time leader in St. Louis in tackles in franchise history, or for the Rams, now the LA Rams, of
and to
course.
believe he got cut. So
Right, right.
yeah, that's crazy to me.
That's remarkable.
But
Business. That's why I don't like the NFL so much.
I think he should be. I think he should be promoted. It will give him a chance to go out on the recruiting trail. I think the recruiting in the backer position will be picked up. It seems like he's a people person. Like he'd be the one
He's
to be in
very
there.
charismatic.
Yeah, he'd be the one in there to close the deal if
I think
Nolan
so. I think
was
he'd be an
out.
ace recruiter for us.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you know the answer to this. I'm shooting you a random question because I don't know the answer. Maybe someone in the chat knows the answer and they can help us out with this one later on. If you don't know, because I don't know. Do grad assistants help with recruiting? Are they allowed to help recruit or no?
So mm, from what I read, he wasn't helping with the
Okay,
recruiting.
okay,
He
okay. I didn't
wasn't.
know that.
I mean, there's so many people you can send out on the road.
Yes.
So I think the word was okay. Fire Parker Fleming.
Yeah.
Uh, be
Get
able
rid of
to
Perry.
be able to promote James Laurinaitis because like wasn't Fleming out on the road, so that opens up a
I'm
spot
sure.
for Laurinaitis to go on the recruiting trail and be able to recruit for Ohio State.
Yep.
So I think that was
Hey,
the dilemma.
Lil Animal was one of my favorite linebackers to ever strap on the scarlet and gray. You got to put Chris Spielman in that conversation. Got to put AJ Hawk for me, us younger
Yeah.
guys.
What about Bobby
Um,
Carpenter?
Bobby Carpenter is definitely a monster, a heat-seeking missile for the Buckeyes in the
Dude, you
past,
can't
mid
forget about
2000s,
Ryan Shazier, dude. I mean, his
or
tragically his
Darren Lee.
career was ended
Although,
short, but
yeah, yep,
yeah.
yeah, that was tragic. That was tragic.
What about
Let's move on.
McMillan?
Oh yeah, what's that?
What about McMillan?
Raekwon. He
Yeah.
was he was not a favorite of mine, but he was a dynamite player. He absolutely was, and he roamed the middle there and was phenomenal. Let's move on to players that are announcing and declaring for the draft, and let's talk about players that are returning. We have Marvin Harrison Jr. just declared today. What do you think about his Buckeye career? He was 0-3 versus Michigan. I know that, but he also balled out versus Michigan every single time he played. What are your
I
thoughts on
know.
Marvin Harrison's career?
Yeah, I know Ohio State fans. They probably see this. They're gonna be like, "What are you talking about, man? You're crazy." I don't like. I know. It's the game. It's the
Yeah,
big rivalry, dude. Like this
yeah,
is it. But I don't think that should define his career
his
at
legacy.
Ohio State. Because if you
Yeah,
look at it, he didn't lose the game. We all know who lost the game. We're not gonna. We'll talk about that we'll talk about that later. But
yeah, for sure.
I think he go down as one of the greatest Ohio State wide receivers. Like if it wasn't for him, just think about how the season would have went.
I feel a little bit, and we'll get to the chat. Thank you, Mark, down in the comment section, clearing that up for us. GAs don't do recruiting, and I thought that was the answer, but I was not for sure, so I didn't want to say something that wasn't true. I do feel bad for Marvin Harrison though, because it was his dream to. Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it. We
Compliments of my wife, Christmas present.
hey, this is a sweet gift too. Um, Buckeye Corner, shout out to them. Maybe they'll sponsor us one day. Uh, anyway, moving forward, Marvin Harrison wanted to play in Indy like his dad. His dad played, and that's obviously where the Big Ten championship game is hosted every year. And I do feel sorry that he didn't get to fulfill that dream. But
Yeah,
he's definitely going to the league. Hopefully, he'll have a lengthy career, free of injuries, and he'll be able to play in the same stadium that his father played in on some occasions here and there. Because I think the Colts just missed the playoffs. They're not going to be able to get a high draft pick, so they're not going to be able to draft Marvin for sure.
no.
Where do you think he might land, though? What are some spots?
Honestly, like there's a lot of talk that he could be the number one overall pick. That it would not be
Now, I
Caleb
haven't heard that yet.
Williams.
Where are you hearing that from?
It'd be just I'm
Twitter?
not usually I'm not look I look I'm not big on Twitter, but
Okay.
I sometimes do look, and if it's like a verified account or whatever, I'll read into it. Just the fact, so I know there's word about getting rid of Fields, but there's also
Yeah.
word of keeping him and drafting
Yep.
Marvin Harrison Jr. as number one overall. I mean,
Okay.
he is a once in a generational talent. Like, how
He's
could you
fun.
pass up on him? I
Route
know
man
there's
Marv, dude.
yeah,
Phenomenal route runner.
yeah, I know there's talk that Caleb Williams is a once in a generational talent.
And
as well. But
I want to put this to rest right now. I'm going to say something to some Michigan fans right here. Okay, listen up, you Michigan fans that might be tuning in. This is what I got for you right now. Y'all calling Marvin Harrison soft, okay? And that irritates me. No, you're not going to call one of the best receivers to ever wear a college football uniform, let alone at Ohio State, a college football uniform in general. This man gave his blood, sweat, and tears to Ohio State for 3 seasons, and he's not soft. So, Roman Wilson, get your name out of his mouth, all right? Get your name out of his mouth.
hey,
I don't want to
Roman,
hear it from you, bro. I don't want to hear from
let's
you.
let's see who's more NFL tough. If you think he's soft, come back in
Yeah.
like come back in like 2 or 3 years, and we'll ask who's more NFL tough. All
Yeah,
right.
well, yeah, precisely. Come on now, bring that heat. Oh, that irritates me. Oh, anyway, Emeka's coming back though. What you think about that, man? He announced, was that today or yesterday? He's coming back.
He's look. We all know why he's coming back.
Yeah,
McCord ruined it. He ruined his stock. I hate to say it, but you know what? Thank you, McCord, for trying to give it all your all as a Buckeye. You know, I wish you well in at Syracuse, but
yeah, yep.
McCord is the reason why Ibuka is coming back. It's no secret. I mean, if you look at the stats last year, he fell off.
There's a reason he landed at Syracuse. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're not wrong. I mean, at least there's no pressure to win over there.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah, for
pressure to win
real
over
though.
there.
So now to guys that declared. We got Marvin that declared and Mike Hall. Excuse me. I was a little surprised he declared because he's a little bit undersized for an NFL defensive tackle. But he is very disruptive in the middle. So, what do you think about Mike Hall's decision, and where do you project him to get drafted? What round?
Honestly, I was hoping he'd come back. He is really disruptive. You know, he's a fire plug. You know, but I think, we'll see how, I think we'll see how he does in the combine, but
Sure.
he was
He could
projected
put up
like
some really good numbers for a D tackle
yeah,
because he is so agile and quick and shifty.
yeah. I think a franchise may take a chance on him. I think he could
How?
possibly maybe depending on the combine and all that slip in the low first round,
Okay.
mid second round.
Okay.
If not,
Wow.
the
Mike
latest would
Hall.
be the end of the second round.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Okay. See,
I just
me
think he's too
personally,
disruptive, too
he
quick,
is
too
so disruptive. I don't want to
yeah,
discredit him and take anything away from him because he was a monster for us. So
yeah.
respect, man.
Wish he
NFL
came
GM,
wish he
take
came back
Mike
here.
Hall. Take Mike Hall. We got Burke and Hancock, and then Lathan Ransom also coming back. What are your thoughts on those three returning? I know, I know. I put the last name in there. I know. What are your thoughts, brother?
I'm happy about Burke and Hancock, but I am worried about losing Jermaine Matthews Jr. Worried about losing him. A talent like that may not want to wait,
Hmm.
but we'll see.
It's the
But
era we live in now, this
yeah,
NIL portal era,
definitely.
bro. People are going to go for better paychecks elsewhere, even though they had good careers like Dylan Gabriel at Oklahoma. He had a great season. Now he's going to Oregon for the bag.
Yeah, I mean, you could. It's Oregon, man. Sponsor like Nike. You can't blame them.
No,
But yeah, you can't blame them. But going back
Hancock and
to
Burke.
yeah, Hancock Burke. Happy they're coming back, but again, worried that Jermaine Matthews Jr. may leave. Ransom, you should have moved on, man. I'm sorry, but like, dude, he's a part of. I'm sorry, but he's a part of the Barnes era of recruiting, the
That's
era that
fair. That's
I just
fair.
want to forget about. And it's just like I'm disappointed. Just like okay, he's good, but he's not great. He's improved, but I feel like he's reached the ceiling, and the ceiling just won't get get that portion where we need to be.
I feel here are my honest and true thoughts. I feel like he improved slightly this year, but it's still not good enough in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just my honest raw thoughts
I
on
mean,
Ransom.
like, here's the thing, though. Again, I'm disappointed because I know what we're getting. I know exactly what we're
Yeah.
getting, and
Yeah.
just like there could be like Jaha Carter. Like,
Josh Carter.
why would they go so hard after him if they're not going to give him a chance?
He
Like,
didn't. I don't even know if he had any snaps this year. He might have had a few in blowouts, but in fact, I think he did actually. I think I saw on 11 Warriors the snap counts that he did get some snaps this year, but not many at all. And it was in the closing, waning minutes of games where the game's over. What can you really learn at that point? But anyway, yeah, I'm a
I
little
mean,
disappointed in that. I am typically one, as I've expressed to you previously, that loves an experienced player, and that I don't always prefer experience over talent. That's not true of me always, um, because sometimes the talent is better than the experience, and in this case, I think that's the fact.
yeah,
I think the talent behind Ransom is better, but he's coming back, and he's probably going to put in a lot of work. He's probably really motivated to beat Michigan, and we'll see how it pans out. Because more than likely, he's going to be on the field the majority of snaps at safety.
come home, Caleb Downs. Come home, man. We're
Oh
Buckeye
shoot!
Nation. Buckeye Nation's
We
waiting.
want you, boy. Come to
Yeah,
Columbus.
yeah. Come to
Come to
Columbus,
Columbus.
man. Yep.
Man, I love it. Well, you did mention the McCord transfer. You mentioned that previously. Do you have any more thoughts to share about Kyle McCord leaving and Will Howard, quarterback from Kansas State, coming in to more than likely, not guaranteed, but more than likely be the next starter at Ohio State in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to talk bad about young athlete try to give
Mm-hmm.
his all for Buckeye Nation, but
Yep.
he just he just didn't cut it. He just didn't have that poise, that it factor, that willingness to, come in clutch for the win.
Right.
He did, you know what he did against Notre Dame, but I feel like he
He
just
did.
progressed as
He
the
did.
season went on. And
He
just like,
plateaued a
okay,
little bit, maybe.
yeah, I feel like he plateaued a little bit, kind of regressed. But it's just like he was there for 3 years. He had time to develop. I mean,
Former 5-star.
a former 5 star,
Won
took.
3 state titles in high school with Marvin Harrison at
Yeah.
St. Joe's Prep in Philly.
Here's what I was thinking. What if, what if they knew that because there was word that Marvin Harrison Jr.
I think I
came to
know what
Ohio
you're gonna say.
State to follow McCord. What if Day took McCord over McCarthy just so he
Ooh,
can get Marvin
ooh,
Harrison Jr.?
brother is bringing the hot takes tonight. Whoa.
I mean, I could see it happening. I mean, I could see that being true. Would Ryan Day admit it? Probably not. But I mean,
No,
like,
he would
he had 3 years
never
to
say that.
develop, and this has been arguably, though, like, one of, like, not a good quarterback since. I mean, looking back at like Dwayne Haskins, I mean,
Sure.
even JT Barrett, then you got
Yep.
Justin Fields, CJ Stroud. It's just like, thank you, McCord, for your service, but it's just I
Definitely.
just feel like the pressure was too much for him, and he just couldn't rise to the occasion. He just
It's very
couldn't
possible that
make it
that's
happen.
true. It's very possible that he saw the comments and wanted to move on and to a different school with less pressure, because Syracuse is definitely less pressure than Ohio State. The fan passion is not even comparable. It might as well be a different sport,
There's no
but
pressure to win, man. I mean,
there
look,
isn't.
I wonder how. I mean, you're standing on the sideline of the bowl game where it's 45-0.
Yeah, that happened. That did happen. That did happen. Daggone it. Oh,
Yeah.
he's got to be thinking, what am I getting myself into? What did I do? I had it good at Ohio State. I had good wide receivers. Now I got these scrubs to throw to.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, like, I think Day, like, sometimes I feel like, and this is where I'm going with this. Sometimes I
Okay.
feel like Day cannot fall on his sword and be like, okay, I messed up. I shouldn't have taken and you know what? Buckeye Nation may be not happy for saying this, but I should have taken JJ over McCord. As smug as JJ
Well,
is, like, you
oof,
know,
yeah, oof.
yeah,
I
but
You got me speechless on that one, brother. I don't know what to say
yeah.
because I really despise JJ McCarthy,
I,
but
I don't.
he might
He's
be a better.
smug. He's
He is a better
pompous. I don't
quarterback.
really
He is
like
a
him
better
either, but
quarterback.
he's a better quarterback.
He is. There's no denying that, and I think the majority of Ohio State fans would agree with your take on that. Um, Man, this has been a lot of fun. Do you have any other general thoughts on the current state of Ohio State football and the direction of the program at the present time, where it's headed? What are you expecting for 2024?
So I'm expecting the defense to be on lockdown. I mean, good
Shut
amount of
down.
defensive players coming back on that side. I mean, you got Jordan Hancock, Denzel Burke, you
Yep.
got you got Jack Sawyer, you got
Yep.
Ty Hamilton, you got Tyler.
JTT hasn't declared
And,
or
and
announced yet, or for the NFL. He may coming back,
yeah,
but I don't think he will
he
be.
may come
We'll
back.
see.
Edric Houston could really step up next year.
Kenyatta
You
Jackson, maybe.
you have Sonny Styles, you have
Ooh, so good.
CJ Hicks he's gonna shine next year. You got Cody Simon.
Cody Simon and CJ Hicks manning
Yeah.
down the linebacker spots. Yep.
Did I already say Hancock?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
But
So,
in
what are your
terms of
expectations moving forward then for next year?
I feel like it's national championship bus. You better beat Michigan.
Okay.
You
Whoa,
better beat
whoa,
Michigan. You
whoa.
better win the Big Ten title. You better make it to the playoffs, and you better make it the national championship game. Or else, I just if he does look, he does beat Michigan, it's time to go. If he doesn't win the Big Ten title, it's time to go.
Well,
Doesn't
that's the
make the
thing, man.
playoffs,
You
it's
can't
time to
lose
go.
4 in a row to that team. You can be 11-0 entering the game for a third straight year, and you lose that game. Ohio State fans will. They might burn his house down. Yeah. So I don't
Yeah,
know, man. They got to beat Michigan.
yeah.
It's all on the line for Day. He's on the hot seat or no?
He's on the hot seat, man. All eyes will be on Columbus next year. He's on the hot seat, man. Like
Okay.
he's making the right moves, but you know what? He's got to stop outsmarting himself. He's got to get outside of his head. He's
What
got to
about play
have that
calling?
key, he's got to have that killer instinct like
He does.
Meyer, like Tressel. I mean, he's just like looking back at here's an example. Looking back at, it's about to be halftime Michigan game, driving the ball down the field. You make a good pass, you're at the 30, and then you decide to kick a field goal. You have pretty much all your timeouts left.
Oh,
There's
bro,
30,
don't
40
remind me of that,
seconds.
bro. I moved
And they
on. I
they
thought I
they
moved
miss the
on.
field goal. They miss it.
And they missed the freaking field goal as a result. Anyway,
So he's just
it
he's
reminded
he
me of the drive versus Georgia where we got down and then we ran 3 plays and kicked a 50 whatever yard field goal it was versus Georgia last year and missed that one too. So when we had 3 plays to get closer and we couldn't do it. Yeah. All right. I don't want to bring up bad memories for Buckeye fans here. I don't want to think about those things right now
it's
anyway,
it's
but
not bringing up bad memories. It's called the truth, man. You got to
it
be able to
is
look
the truth.
yourself in the mirror, dude. You have
You
to.
some And I hope he is doing that too, because Ryan Day, first of all, he needs to trust his staff more. He needs to delegate more, in my humble opinion. And if he does those things, I think we'll have a successful 24th season. And that means beating Michigan. End of story. The players have
Yeah.
said it. They're all coming back for a reason, minus Harrison, McCord, and Mike Hall so far. So, I think that's all we got for tonight, you guys. We appreciate everybody tuning in to Buckeyes Battle Cry tonight. Want to thank my buddy Rob, the Buckeye Insider, for coming on tonight. We're going to try and do this on a weekly thing. We haven't hammered down a day yet when we can do it every single week, but we will talk behind the scenes and bring Buckeye Live to you throughout the offseason because we got a lot to talk about. We got a new athletic director coming in this season. We got Ryan Day on the hot seat. We got tons of transfers coming in. We got a lot to discuss. And shoot, man, I'm trying to go to the spring game because I want to see Devin Brown versus Will Howard live. And I'd love to do some interviews of Buckeye fans down at the spring game too. So we'll talk about that another time, another day as spring moves forward. But one last thing I do want to address before we jump off this live because it does affect us as Buckeye fans. We saw Michigan win the national championship. We saw it happen with our very eyes. I didn't watch the celebration. Heck no, no way. But I saw the game. What do you think that will have that effect will have on Ohio State football? Will it motivate them, or are they going to be discouraged now? What's going on in the Buckeye mindset right now?
I think that will motivate them. I mean, man,
I think it'll help
that
them.
that's a dark time in Buckeye history, man.
Yep,
Just watching I can't watching scum win the national championship. After all the
it's sad.
sign stealing, just after everything. Yeah, sure,
Well,
sure, like you didn't have to steal signs anymore, but doesn't mean it didn't happen. So
and it doesn't
just
mean it didn't
because of
have an
that,
effect. Either a minimal effect or a magnificent big effect. We don't know. We don't know. But it affects us, both of us personally, because we both live in Michigan, as we mentioned at the jump here on this broadcast. So we have to endure this offseason. It's going to be a long one because 11 Warriors is not a friendly place to go to right now. And
they're all doom and gloom, man. I'm telling you.
bunch of doom and gloomers. I read that almost every day, but I've stopped for the last like 2 weeks because it's all negative. I read the articles, but I don't read the comments anymore. So maybe that's better for my mental health anyway. Who knows?
Yeah,
But all
but
right, Rob.
I
Oh, you got one more last thing to say?
yeah, I think the Buckeyes will be extremely motivated next year. I mean,
I
like,
think so too.
when's the last time that Michigan has won anything under Ohio State's watch? Think about it. It
Right.
has it's been forever, man. It's time to get back to that beating Michigan tradition. It's time to get back. I mean, the Silver Bullets are back. BIA is back,
Yeah, they
but
are. Yeah, they
it's
are.
time to get back to just bullying people around in the bowling teams around in the
Paintball.
trenches, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So
That would be very encouraging to see, especially with excuse me, Quinton Judkins coming in, and hopefully some more help on the offensive line through the portal. We know we got Seth McLaughlin in the transfer portal from Alabama. Hopefully, we get some more. But yeah, man, thanks for bringing the heat tonight. Thanks for filling us Buckeye fans in on what's going on in your mind in the dome, and we thank you for all your thoughts tonight and sharing your opinions.
hey, those who are watching, feel free. Are they allowed to leave comments about the
Yep,
show?
you can leave comments.
Hey,
It'll be
feel
up
free to leave
afterwards.
comments. Let us know what you think. We love to do
Yeah,
this more.
critique
So
us too.
yeah,
Give us your
critique us.
honest thoughts. We want to get better. We want to know how to do this better. Eventually, I'll have a good mic. I'm just doing
Maybe
this
we
on the
get
phone.
Barstool Dave on here, man.
Woo, that would be a heated interview. Maybe that's bucket list
Yeah,
for the channel, huh?
yeah,
We'll
definitely.
see what happens, man. We'll see. We want to invite you on this journey. Buckeyes Battle Cry here. Signing out for tonight. We had a great time. Thanks again for coming on, Rob. We will see you on the channel in the future again. I'll probably have you on in a video that I have ideas coming up. A lot of ideas are circulating through my head. But once again, thanks for coming on, and you all have a good night. Okay. Thanks again, Rob.
Yep.
All right. Good night now.